And Nazra says, love to see you as well. Actually, I like this time you're having live stream. Okay, good. Wunderbar. Nikki says, hello, Mehran. Happy hump day. Is it? Well, there's no humping here. So I talk to you for a second. Talk for yourself. It's dry lockdown here. So, but thank you for that anyhow. And same to you as well. So hang on, guys. All right. I wanted to say hello to my son. We have this ritual that we greet each other when we start the day. So, and so where are we? We are. And Chris says, my mind got me again. Listen, learned. The next time me and ex current partner, me and ex slash current partner split, I'm moving and changing my phone number. He came back as the same man, still handling me carelessly. Lesson learned. Okay, good. That's what I thought. Chrissy, did you tell me anything about the protocol? Age, where you tuning in from and all that? I don't remember that. Could you do that for me? I appreciate that. And now, Chris says, sorry, Mehran, lol, crazy times. I was doing so well before lockdown. I don't want the ugly stick. Well, if you don't, then you better watch what you're saying, because that ugly stick is here for a reason. People who go off rail and start thinking nonsense, that's what they get. So, if you can't believe facts, they're in trouble, because then you're believing thoughts. And thoughts are not you. They're just crazy, haywired entities that most of your life, they do not represent you. They're not your thoughts, they're just thoughts. Intrusive, transient, negative, OCD. You attach that to it, you'll go nuts, for sure. If you don't understand that brain malfunctions, what shows up here is not truth, is not deity, is not credible, is not about you, is not of you. It's not you. You are not thoughts. Thoughts are not you. You're not your brain. Brain is not you. Brain is just like any other organ. It can malfunction, and in more ways than one, because it's all neurons, electric system, and they go nuts. Short, they have statics, short, and all these things that can happen to them. So you gotta understand that. Don't be fooled by the fact that thoughts are me. They're not you. You were you before thoughts ever became part of humanity. Human being has been in the works for what? I don't know how many years. A million years? Whatever it is. But only 30,000 years ago, they were able to speak and think. Until then, we were like animals. Everything hardwired, everything no problem, everything going through perfectly. No thoughts, biology working as it was designed and put together and created when it was created. Our gender was clear, our sexual inclination was clear from the beginning, and always is from the beginning, even now and forever. But we had no thoughts to interfere with it, to suggest intrusive thoughts, suggest all kinds of images through words and thoughts. There were not much shit available in the world for you to be aware of other kinds of happenings, for giving ideas for the negative mind to run with it, whether to protect you or alarm you or just simply gone nuts and creating obnoxious images and thoughts just because it's possible to think of it. And brain is a thought manufacturing entity. That's what it does. And as long as there are ideas introduced to you through books and videos and movies and seeing lifestyles and seeing what happens out there and every other way that we get to know about all these events in the world, thought creates it. And you're not supposed to be bamboozled to think that's you who's being represented or being told by thought what you are, what you're not. Thought is nonsense. It's got nothing to do with you. The only thoughts that are representation of what you want to achieve are the thoughts that you consciously, clearly, on healthy times, choose out of your consciousness to design something, plan something, to accomplish something, to learn something, calculate something, figure out something. These are things that you are initiating. That's your thought. But that's only one. You have got 70,000 thoughts a day at least. And almost all of them are intrusive, because the only ones that are not are the ones that you choose it to be useful for some reason. The rest of them don't represent me, don't represent you. They're not you. You're not them. Thoughts are not you. You're not thoughts. Separate yourself from thoughts. Then you will find yourself based on your true self by being mindful and remembering your values and how you lived, what you are, how you are, without interference of thought, negative thought, intrusive thoughts. These are all bullshit. Before thought capability came about 30,000 years ago, 40,000 years ago, we had no problems. There were not much shit out there for us to be given ideas for the negative thoughts to run with it. So intrusive thoughts were very limited because there was no thoughts to begin with. When we started that capability of thinking or speaking, still very limited because there weren't things happening. These intrusive thoughts and ideas eventually through time created more shit, more stuff, more possibilities, and people being curious try them and come up with all kinds of things, and then that created more ideas of weird stuff, and then suddenly there's so much possibilities and thought runs with it, but none of them have anything to do with you. They're thoughts. It's simple. Let them be. Don't try to make any sense out of them because they're just irrelevant. But because it's a thought that appears in your head is the screen of showing images and thoughts, you think whatever shows up there, it's you. It's not. Get a hold of that. Then you'll be fine. Because then you understand your real role is to judge thought, not that every thought that shows up is you. You are the judge. You're the ultimate supreme commander. You are the one who decides what to look at, what not to look at, what to pay attention to, what thought, and what thought not pay attention to. You are the judge based on your inner values, based on your wise advocate, based on your superconsciousness, based on your gatekeeper, based on your core values. These are all same meaning, different words. So you got to consult with your wise advocate, with your inner self, with your true self, with your values, and see if any of these thoughts are in line with your values. When they're not, be mindful of it. Disregard them and move on with your life. Focus on whatever it is that you're all about, rather than focusing on what's being suggested. Thoughts are like the idiot bullies at school that they say something to you, and you're a child, you believe it, and you start being bothered by it, and then for years you start thinking, why did they say that? Why you believe it? Because you're an honest person. You're a good person, compassionate, strong, confident. Your family loved you, took care of you, and you were from in a safe place. But other kids were not. They were simply inferior and jealous to your superiority. Why? Not because you were doing anything special or snob, just because you didn't bother anybody. And that bothers them because they cannot find value to themselves unless they try to chip somebody down or make somebody feel bad. That's the only way they could feel good about themselves. That shows their inferiority, their fear. Their life was all based on fear. And all they could do to hide it was to try to pretend that they are better than what they are, which they were not. How? Making fun of you or saying something to you, derogatory, and then you being an honest kid and thinking anybody who says something is probably true because you have no reason to lie or to say shit about other people. So you think if they say it, it must have a meaning. It doesn't. They're just jackasses. And you got to get that out of your system. And thought is the same. That's what it does. It's of no circumstance, if it's no relevance, and wants to be relevant. So takes that opportunity, says shit in order to get engagement from you, get some energy exchange, resistance, talk, debate, and then suddenly thinks that it's alive. That's how it operates. You got to know about it and be above it all. Don't converse with things that are not worthy of you. Just be the superior commander and choose what to pay attention, what to don't. When you ignore them and diss them, they eventually learn they're not welcome there. And they will get back to be rewired in your brain and to not come up so much or not at all. That's called neuroplasticity. By your behavior toward a thought, you will train and rewire the brain from not bringing those thoughts because you have no interest and you've showed them. By your behavior, you've shown them you have no interest. Eventually, they learn the signal. And the malfunction, along with OCD, makes it difficult, but eventually you'll be fixed because your behavior shows them the cues that even if the signaling system is malfunctioning, you got to see how I'm behaving with you, thought, and then you will learn that I am not what you're trying to suggest, and I'm not interested in discussing it with you because it's irrelevant to me. When I realize that irrelevant to me because of my core values and consulting with my wise advocate, my super consciousness, then I don't have to debate with you something that is obviously not meeting my values and irrelevant. Then I go on and you learn your place. That's how you deal with negative, intrusive thoughts. Now, 17 people, that means 12 of them, and 12 likes. That means 12 of them were listening, 17, and what, 5 of them? They're not listening. So, what's going on, guys? It costs you anything. Click the like button if you don't mind. We want to fool YouTube that we are popular, so go ahead, click it. Mark says, is that stick for social distancing or to hit us? Both. It's a multi-purpose stick. I can have social distancing and I can beat the crap out of people who don't get their mind strengthen and brain behave properly and not pay attention to intrusive thoughts. That's the motto of this channel. And Excalibur says Mehran will give us a virtual spanking. That's right. Be aware of that. All right. Jeffrey says, I find I usually struggle from negative thoughts at work. Yeah. You and 94% of other people in the world. And the other 6%, as we talked about it, they're either lying or they're just oblivious to the fact that they have OCD and they have negative thoughts, intrusive thoughts. That's not a small number. 94% of people in the world have intrusive thoughts. The difference is that most of people, when they have intrusive thoughts and their brain is not in the glitch of OCD, they just recognize and say, wow, that's crazy, and then they move on. But the ones who have OCD, they get that stuck. As we talked about it before, part of the brain called caudate nucleus doesn't do its job as it's always designed to do it automatically. It kind of gets stuck and it doesn't release to say, okay, that's not of his interest, it's not according to his values, and the signal has come to us without him having to be involved, because we have access to the actual relevant signals that reflects the thought and tells us that thought is not acceptable, it bothers me, I'm not that, and we're supposed to shut that down, but the caudate nucleus gets stuck, doesn't shut it down, and that's because there's a glitch, malfunction in its mechanism. It's an electrical system, it's gone rather short-fused, or statics are not allowing it to do its job. And that's why then, if we don't separate ourselves from thoughts, then we believe what's constantly looping there, thinking it has a meaning, it has a suggestion, it's a deity, it's coming to me from above, it's something superior to me, instead of thinking that all these are beneath me. I am the superiors. The me is the boss of thought and every other shit that happens in my head. If you understand that, then you will see that your inner values, true self, super consciousness, wise advocate, your core principles is what the judge over thought and activities of the brain is, not the other way around. Thought cannot change you. Thought cannot change things that are created in you when you were in the mother's womb. Your DNA, your genitalia, your gender, your sexual inclinations, all casted in stone. No change. You are what you are. Whatever you have been born as, that's what you embrace, and that's what your lifestyle will be the rest of your life. It doesn't matter what thought comes to your mind. The people who have these disorders of HOCD, and we're talking about heterosexuals in this particular case, they may have intrusive thoughts about that they're not heterosexual and that they're gay. And that thought gets stuck in there because it's HOCD, it's from a subset of OCDs. And then if you don't recognize that you're not thought, thoughts are not you, the me is separate from thought, then you get confused, try to data hunt and try to investigate rather than just simply say, that's not me, that doesn't represent me, and therefore leave it be. Let the thoughts be, and they will let you be by not engaging with it and continuing your way of life and not taking them seriously rather than becoming too alarmed, because that's what it is. We become alarmed because it's against our true self. Otherwise, we wouldn't be alarmed. We wouldn't be uncomfortable. We wouldn't be bothered. Because it's always attacks the opposite of what you are. In other words, whatever gender you are, it suggests to you that you're not that gender. It always attacks you opposite of what you are. So, in other words, to make it very easy for yourself, if you're attacked by whatever suggestions, that's real evidence for you that you are actually what you've always been. Because that's how the brain works. It attacks you with opposite of what you are. If you're heterosexual, it attacks you that you're gay. That definitely helping you to realize that you're sure as hell heterosexual. If it's the other way around, then that's what it is. Whatever you are, you are. That cannot be changed just because thoughts showed up. If you understand that, you separate yourself from thoughts, then you got it made, because you understand brain,
can malfunction. Thought are not you. You're not the brain. And then you're above it all. Therefore, these will just be like debris in a river. Come and go and let them go. Notice them and that you're above it and let them go. That's as simple as that. Let's go on to Jeffrey answer. Jeffrey, Roller Girl says, Mark says, does meditation help to combat negative intrusive thoughts because you have better control over your mind? You don't need to control your mind. You just need to direct your mind. Controlling is resisting, creating energy exchange, and which engages you, gets you involved in that loop. But directing your mind is taking the spotlight away from what you find it irrelevant. In other words, the less light you shine on something, the less it becomes bothersome because it's not shining back. Simple. So you got intrusive thoughts. Meditation is very good. Why? Not because you control your mind, because through meditation you don't control mind. You release the mind. You release the mind to its natural state. You release the mind from every resistance, which brings natural flow of energy and harmony with nature, with universe, which brings stability. Right? So what you want to do in meditation, the reason you want to do it, because it strengthens your mind, your ability to relax, to bring mind into infinitely decreasing imperceptible ripples, and decrease the ripples of the mind, which means decreasing the distortions. And when you decrease the distortions, everything becomes clear for you. Like the surface of the pond, when it is windy and stormy and choppy or rainy, you can hardly see a reflection of anything, no matter what size. Even the moon is not reflected on the surface of water when it's choppy and windy, because it's distorted. You can see some light and you don't know what it is, a broken bulb, what is it? But if the same pond, lake, is calm, no distortions, it's so clear in the surface that even a dashing bird, not having yet arrived on the surface of the water directly, can be reflected, and you can see what's coming. It's so clear without distortions that these negative thoughts don't find a place to hide in the distortion, the waves and the choppiness, because it's all clear. You can see they're all illusion. Why? Because thought has no existence, has no substance. It's an idea. It's a suggestion. But the brain doesn't understand the difference. The mind doesn't understand the difference between virtuality and actuality. And when it's something constantly is being suggested, it's like suggesting something to a weak mind. Like when you were a child and you're bullied, you believe that shit, whatever the other assholes are saying. So if your mind is actually weak, a suggestion of thought that comes in, even though it has no substance and actuality, brain and mind doesn't understand the difference between virtuality and actuality. It believes it because the misconception is that you think you are thoughts that appear. You think thoughts is you. You have to understand, thought is not you. You are not thought. Thought is a tool, is the ability of the me, of you. Like your eyesight, it's an ability. Your eyes is not you, is your eyesight that makes you to judge what you see is relevant or not. You want to see it or you don't. It's a tool. especially if you realize that 30,000 years ago we were strong and living and enjoying our lives with no distortion because there was no thought. That's why there were no questions of what I am, what my sexuality is or is not. It was all, you knew what it was and you were acting on what it was rather than thinking about, oh, today I am being suggested that I am not this that I've always been. And you buy into that shit to the point that you actually have your body checked all the time. Oh, did I get a reaction? Oh, I did. I think these are all created in the brain, and you fall for it because mind has certain powers that can cause certain thoughts to feel as if they're real by creating a certain reaction in the body. And that makes you think, oh, because there's a reaction, therefore that I am that what thought is suggesting. No, not at all. Thought has that power. You can see its power is so strong that if you can harness it and bring it under your command, it can do wonders for you in life to the point that you can actually defy gravity. Watch my video number 7. Video number 7 says, when the powerful mind malfunctions. You can see if you are in a healthy position and you learn how to use power of mind, it works to your advantage because it's a powerful tool. But if you don't understand it, it can go rogue and use that same power that it could be useful to what you want to achieve, use it against you in negative ways because it's undisciplined. This power that is undisciplined is not intelligent. If you don't harness it, it will go nuts and make you think you're a cow or you're a ship or you're a tree or you are this or your gender is not this or your gender is that. It can go nuts, make you do OCD shit and believe all kinds of things that it's never true and never will come true, but because it has no discipline and you have not harnessed that power. That's why meditation is important, to be able to harness that power, put it to work for you. If you understand how this works and how it malfunctions, to be aware of it, mindful of what this is, you'll be successful in life, and whatever you want to achieve will help you to, because it is the horse you're riding. It will listen to what you command. But if you don't understand that it malfunctions, and it's malfunction time, you actually believe what it suggests, then you're fucked. Because then you're believing something that you have created a belief about. Its actuality, which has no actuality, no substance, no presence, and no reality to it. So if you can make this distinction, you got it made. Because then now you know the vehicle that you are driving can break down. And when it breaks down, you can recognize it. And when you recognize it, you can also fix it. That's how you deal with thought and brain. Not to think that what I'm writing is me. Well, no. That has a mind of its own. It can go take you to ditch or take you to places that you never wanted to be there. So understand your role and your relationship with thought is not one and the same. You're not the same thing. You're two different things. Understand? Capiche? Say yes. Say yes, the ones who understand. I want a feedback. And push that like button if you like. There are 21 of us here. We want to fool YouTube that we are a popular channel here. So click on likes. And guys, when you watch the videos,
especially the recent ones, the 18 videos that put out for you guys in regards to intrusive, transient, OCD, HOCD, negative thoughts. These are actually very helpful videos. I put lots of time and effort in them. They could be boring in some parts, but who gives a shit? Listen to them, watch them, because how you rewire your brain is through repetition. There is nothing in this world you can be good at if you're not repeating it. That is why HOCD, OCD, negative thoughts, intrusive thoughts, you become good at it and keep showing up because you keep thinking about it. You're hardwiring your system for intrusive thoughts because you constantly debate about it, data hunt it, discuss with it, try to wonder about it, investigate it, and you're doing all that focusing on nonsense, bullshit, irrelevant things. Then that's what you become good at because you are hardwiring your neurons to be good at doing the intrusive thought bit. Instead, you simply got to focus on the fact that thoughts is not me. I notice them. That's OCD, that's not me. That's thought, that's not me. That's brain, brain is not me. You recognize and call them for what they are when they show up and they say, I notice you, but my mindfulness through counseling with my wise advocate, superconsciousness, gatekeeper, I know this does not meet my values. Therefore, be where you are and I will do what I do. And you keep doing this, then you become good at ignoring them while you recognize their presence and call them for what they are and recognize their state that they are thought, not you, they're OCD, not you, and then you focus on your life. You keep doing that, you're rewiring your brain called neuroplasticity, and the neurons will make you good at not seeing the lies and seeing the truth, which is what you have always been. And that's will retrain and rewire your brain. In other words, you're kind of manually teaching caudate nuclease to get in the shift, goddammit, stop malfunctioning, because this is my command, not your glitch staying there. That's not my command. My command is how I'm behaving with these thoughts, which is ignoring them, going about my business. And then caudate nucleus picks up the new rewiring through your behavior, and then it fixes itself. And if it ever shows up again, you recognize it, you're far ahead of it, and again, they'll subside because you've learned the malfunction or how to treat it. And it's a malfunction, nothing else. Irrelevant, nothing else. That's how you rewire and retrain the malfunctioning mind, or malfunctioning brain, rather. All right.